Hi, welcome to the channel. We like to talk about survival in a crisis world. If that is something that you are interested in, please click the like button and consider subscribing. It really helps with those YouTube algorithms. So you've lost your job, or your spouse, who is the main breadwinner, has lost their job. Whatever your situation, the most important thing you need to do is to organize your 4 financial boxes. There is a tsunami of economic sewage heading your way. If you do not do this, then you're not going to make it. So here they are, the 4 boxes that you never knew were running your life: income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. And you just lost your job and therefore your main source of income. Goodbye, nice thick line of money going into the top left box. And look, I know it's scary to lose your job, even scarier when we're at the start of the Great Depression on steroids. But one of your first thoughts might be, I'll go on unemployment benefits. That'll get me through, at least in the short to medium term. Well, maybe. You see, your expenses, the thick lines going out of the top right box, they are about to go up big time. Not today, not this year. It's my view that we're in a deflationary period right now, but next year and every year after that. And I won't go into why that is. If you want me to do that, then please comment down below. I'll happily do a separate video, but for the moment, do me a solid and assume that the government paycheck will not be covering your expenses. So to get around this, step 1 is to change your focus from the income and expenses boxes to your assets and liabilities, because this is where the action happens, and this is what we're not trained to do. A typical household budget focuses on income and expenses. Switch that focus. It is now assets, liabilities. An asset is something that you possess that earns you money, like a rental property or a book that earns you royalties. Whatever it is putting moolah into wallet. A liability, on the other hand, is something that you have, it's in your name, and it's taking moolah away from said wallet. Now, these aren't techie definitions. Probably a good time to mention that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm terrible when it comes to money. Just ask my husband. So do not take this as financial advice. But back to assets. It's not been your employer who have been paying your wages or salary since you graduated, at least not in my wonky world of accounting. It's actually you. You are the asset. It's your knowledge, training, skills, experience, talents, all of them together, whatever it may be. And now I don't want to make you feel bad or to sound harsh, but you are now sitting in the liability box. It's not like you still don't have all of those things that made you employable, but you are not putting money into the wallet, you are taking money. And you probably have a bunch of other stuff in here as well. Credit card debt, student loan debt, a mortgage, a car, other stuff. Don't panic. Yes, you have a lot of liabilities and maybe nothing sitting in your asset box just yet. But the next thing is to work on eradicating those liabilities. As many as you can, and the ones that you can't eradicate, move them across to the asset box. So let's start with your car or cars. Our 2 steps: eradicate and move. So as my mum always said, cars are luxuries. It wasn't that long ago that it was a massive extravagance to own a car. So if you own a car or 2, decide whether you really need them. And if you decide to keep a car, then downgrade. And here's the trick. Think about how you can move that car into your asset box. Could you hire it out to someone who needs it when you don't need it? Let's say your car's sitting in the driveway from 9 p.m. till 7 a.m, gathering dust. Maybe there's someone in your area who would like to hire that car out for those hours. Maybe an overnight delivery driver, or an Uber driver, or a friend, someone who needs access to an occasional car. Whatever it may be, the car will then be putting money into your pocket, and therefore it will be an asset. I'm not saying that you won't still owe money on it. I'm not saying it's going to cover all the expenses of keeping a car, because a car is a luxury, but it will help. And do this properly, by the way, guys. Use an agency or do a thorough check on the person that you're handing the keys over to. Let's move over to the big one, which is property. Again, the 2 steps: eradicate and move. Now, I am not saying that you should sell your home. No way, Jose. You might not have a choice if things get really sticky and you have to tap into your mortgage equity. But look, if you can, I would hang on to your property. If anything, moving is a nightmare, and I'm not a fan of property flipping. I don't like stamp duty and capital gains tax and all that sort of stuff. But again, not financial advice. So if you want to keep your property, do you have a spare bedroom or a study that you could rent out or put on Airbnb? Could your kids start sharing a room and you hire that out? If you live near a uni or an airport or a train station, that room might be in really high demand. If you don't fancy sharing your space with a lodger or a tenant, maybe you have a space in your driveway that you could rent out. Again, if you're near a train station or an airport, could be in high demand. There is a new market with the remote working that has been going on in the last few months, which is office space. Is there an area in your house that you could convert to an office space? It could be a study and it's just a desk with, internet connection. That's all you need. Because there's a lot of mums and dads out there who are finding it really hard to work from home with their kids running around and causing a riot. So there could be a market for that. Get creative and move your property over to the asset box, that it is putting money into your pocket. Now, for some liabilities, it's just not going to be possible to move them across. You can see them here, things like credit card debt, student loan debt. You need to pay these off as quickly as you can. If you have any savings, pay off that credit card debt. If you can take out some of your pension, superannuation, 401k, whatever it is, take it out and pay off that credit card debt. Now, when I told my father that I was doing this, because I put my money where my mouth is, I have taken stuff out of my superannuation account to pay off some personal debt. My dad was appalled, aghast, horrified. He thought it was the stupidest financial decision I've ever made, which is fine. And if you feel the same, comment down below. That's completely cool to disagree, but this worked for me. I want to clear as much of my personal debt as possible. And by the way, my husband also disagreed. So lots of people clearly disagree with me on this one. And I'm not saying that you should, but maybe that's something that you can consider. And if you have exhausted all options, you might have to ask friends or family if they can lend you the money. Now, if you're thinking, I can't put my friends and family in that sort of position, you might actually be doing them a favour. If these people have any savings left over, they haven't blown it all on that amazing bull market run and lost it all on hurt stocks, they will have money sitting in their bank that's earning no interest, zero, zilch, nothing. Interest rates have never been so low. So maybe you could approach them and see if you can borrow the money and pay it back with better interest, say 3%. 3% is way better than 0.1%, and it's way less than you're paying on your credit card. I don't know what the rates are on credit card debts at the moment, but let's say it's 17%. You're going to be saving so much money if you do this. So it's tricky to ask someone to lend you money. It can be a very uncomfortable conversation, so this is what you say. You say, look, mum, dad, sis, please don't say yes or no yet, but I'm looking to pay off my credit card ASAP. I'm wondering if you could lend me the money and I'll repay you with interest. We'll draw up a contract and a repayment plan so that everyone's on the same page. But again, please don't say yes or no yet, but can you please think about it and get back to me? When you phrase it that way, you are respecting the person to not put them on the spot, and they'll really appreciate that because this can be a big deal. And look, they may say no, and that's okay, but keep trying. Eradicate your liabilities. Now move on to the other stuff. Look around you, your life, your home. Take stock of what you own, what you earn money on, and whether you can make any money off it. Let's say gym equipment. Do you have a room that's a gym, or do you have any kit that you could hire out, either the kit itself or hire out your space? If something is taking money from your wallet, you got to go after it, man. You got to go on the offense. I'm going to make you work for me. I'm coming after you, liability. So look around you and see what you can start making money off. And let's say you've gone through all your other stuff and you've put it over to the asset box. There is another asset that I'm not an accountant, so I don't know what they put in here, but I'm assuming that a traditional accountant would never put this asset down into your box, but that's time. Time is your greatest asset. Use it wisely, and it is going to pay you back in droves. Update your CV, the LinkedIn profile, figure out where the world is heading in this post-vid world, brainstorm business ideas with your spouse or friends, re-look at those liabilities and expand on what I've suggested. Create your own ways of moving them into the asset box. Think about what will be needed in the future, what you would be happy to learn. There is no point in saying, I know that coding and programming are going to be massive in the future world, but I hate IT. I can't think of anything worse than becoming a coder or a programmer. That's just not going to work, is it? I mean, beggars can't be choosers, but it would be better to find something that you want to do, that you're interested in. And if you're thinking, my dream's always been to open a cafe, I've always wanted to become a children's author, I'm going to become a fireman or a flight attendant, then again, I don't mean to be mean, but you're not on the right track. That's like someone saying, I'm going to start designing briefcases. I think that the fax machine is going to come back and I'm going to invest all my time into that. The world has changed, and it's changed subtly and it's changed overtly in 2020. It will never be the same again. And that's old thinking. Opening a cafe and living the dream. You need to figure out where the world is heading. What will people, businesses, and the market need in the future world? And how can you service that need? And look, if you need help with that, comment down below. I'll be happy to do another video with what I think and where I think the world is heading. But in the meantime, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, and it was the biggest waste of 11 minutes of your life, that's okay, give me a thumbs down. But whatever you're thinking, thank you very much for watching. I hope it's helped. Keep your chin up, and I'll be seeing you soon.